Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Gamescast. It is Thursday, the first Thursday of March 2020. Guys, it's already March.
I don't like that. I don't like that fact. Don't confront me with that
It
fact.
is
Can't wait for
already.
March. The weather's so much nicer.
It is really fucking weird just how quickly this year is moving past us. Guys, how are we doing today? How are we doing this week? It's been a couple weeks. Derek had his fundraiser.
This has been a rough. We'll get to that. Yeah, we've been off for a couple weeks though because we had the fundraiser, the Wizard of Legend fundraiser, and then last week there was simultaneously no news and also only like 2 people were really available. So
mostly there was just no news.
Yeah.
There was not a lot. There was bullshit for news. Like, let's face it. Like, there was not fucking news last week.
I'm on here today to talk about Suicide Squad. Sorry, guys.
Oh my god! And it didn't even occur to me that we might talk about that. I'm gonna.
What?
So might.
Oh, that
I'm
really
late, buddy.
bad PlayStation State of Play.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. That was the thing that we were like, we're gonna build a show off that, and then it was nothing. It was literally a nothing state of play.
It was the meme where the duck walks into the building and then he walks out and he was like, it was fucking nothing.
I was gonna say the Nathan Fielder. I hope you're hungry for nothing.
That is a good one.
Like what was that? Like it was they closed with Suicide Squad.
Well, there was some VR stuff that was cool to see, but VR stuff is starting to run together because all the
they were
same
having
shit.
They were having a bit off, bro.
There was some indies that we already knew about just getting release dates. There was 2 really good Capcom trailers, and then we had 15 minutes of fucking Suicide Squad being the most AAA game I've ever seen.
I'm just gonna say I think it was the same as every state of play, and to me,
there have been some solid State of Play.
No, so the thing is, the quality of the State of Play depends on how invested you are in what they show. If you're a big Suicide Squad fan, that was a fucking awesome State of Play. But there was no JRPGs, and there was no.
Or if you're a fan of bad games, I guess.
So it's not a John State of Play.
Capcom showed up to save the day in the middle.
Yeah.
We got Zangief and his fucking thigh jiggle physics.
I mean, that was better than any Nintendo Direct I've ever seen because
those things are the spice.
Because I'm never interested in anything they show in them, right? So it was fine. It definitely wasn't something we needed to cover on the
But it wasn't.
show.
Yeah, it wasn't like we can't make a show out of just that. So, we are back. We've got some things to talk about. We're going to talk about.
Right, that was my son. He wanted to tell me about a new swear word he learned.
Can we say it? Can you say it?
Yeah, it was shit kicker.
That's not a swear word. That's just an existing swear phrase. Another word.
Yeah, I mean, but I appreciate him putting words together like Lego blocks. He's learning how language works.
They're compound words. So
I would hope he's learning. He's almost 15.
Yeah, but
anyway,
we got some things to talk about. We're going to talk about what we've been playing. Obviously, usual. Get the good fun shit up in front.
I do want to talk about that shit because
we're going to talk about what there's been a lot of rumors and maybe leaks about Nintendo hardware coming, and we want to talk about that in a calm and measured way.
We're going to confirm that the Switch 2 is available. That's us right now.
It's a big deal that we're going to talk about it because how many times the possibilities come up of like, we're going to talk about this, rumor about Switch 2, and we go, no. So we're going to finally do that.
Well, and Derek, there were some, we won't bring it up just yet, but there was some shit that dropped like right before we went live, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it just keeps happening. So,
all right.
Everything keeps happening. And then we're going to talk about, Yoshi P made some comments, the producer of Final Fantasy XIV and upcoming Final Fantasy XVI, about kind of his dislike of the term JRPG, and we're going to kind of delve into like a lot of discourse we don't want to touch on necessarily has spun out of that, but we want to talk about like the history of why he might feel that way and kind of talk out our feelings through that. But first and foremost, what have we been playing, folks? Jeff, let's start with you, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I guess basically I'll just drop my Theatrhythm review because I wasn't able to join John and Britt.
That's right. You weren't able to join the official review.
Yeah, I've just been working a lot this week. Yeah, so I mean, it's really good. I've never played any of the previous series. I'm a rhythm game fan. Like I like obviously if I assume Rock Band and Guitar Hero count. I backed Amplitude from Harmonix a few years ago. Fantastic game. So I mean, it seems like a slam dunk, like a rhythm game in Final Fantasy, and of course it's really good. I think a lot of things that I like about it, one especially is like it's super forgiving in terms of like the timing, and it really lets you not so much focus on like precision timing. It just lets you kind of get absorbed in like the feel of the music. As long as you're kind of going with the flow, like it doesn't really punish you if you're off by half second. It doesn't seem to register a wrong input as a fail. So if you accidentally hit like the wrong button instead of the right one, you could still recover. It just lots of little things like that, which are really nice. Of course, the song selection is huge. I think one thing I was a little bit more mad about until I realized it is budget. I didn't realize it's like a budget title. It's not full price like a lot of their other ones. But it is disappointing that it's 2023 and there's no PS5 version. It's just PS4 backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
And I say that mostly because it's not like, there's obviously this type of game. It's not going to need ray tracing or anything like that. But I think two things that stood out to me. There's a little bit of load times. They're only like 5 to 6 seconds. But like when you're retrying songs constantly, I do feel like I've been staring at that load screen a little bit more than I'd like to. Like, this is really the kind of game where on an SSD there shouldn't be a load screen. And the other thing being like a rhythm game that's all about the feedback from hitting those notes. I feel like they could have done a lot with haptics and like a lot with the DualSense features and stuff like that in terms of like hitting those notes and the ups and downs from the tone of the song. So I think just a bit of a missed opportunity, not having like a native PS5 version. I feel like they really could have done a lot special with that.
Jeff, I will point out that if you were to somehow get on my level, you wouldn't have to keep retrying songs.
Well, I'm trying them on Ultimate, John, and I'm pretty sure you're playing most of them on Expert. So,
oh no, I dabble in both.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say I was any good at Ultimate, but I dabble in it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely I don't know if I'd recommend it. I feel like the music's good enough that even if you've never played a Final Fantasy game, you can just hop in there and enjoy it. The backgrounds are really good. Like there's a lot of, I think there's some generic backgrounds for the songs, but there's like a lot, especially for Final Fantasy 14, where they've like recreated the actual arena for some of the boss fights and stuff like that. Just a lot of like really small attention to detail. The only other thing I would say it's like missing is there could be like one more mechanic, I guess, gameplay wise. Like the difficulty levels are nice, but it's very straightforward in terms of the functions and how the buttons work. I think I missed something like in Rock Band or Guitar Hero, you've got like star power or the little the whammy bar, or even an Amplitude where you've got something like the power-ups that like slow down time or reverse things and things like that. I think throwing one like little extra mechanic into like change up the songs a little bit other than just the difficulty level could have been a bit interesting. But again, just a really fun, pleasant game
with tons of DLC that's dropped. Like some Live Alive tracks just dropped.
So
the other day.
Are there Kingdom Hearts tracks, or is that only for fucking melody of?
I think
no. Only good games are allowed on Theater Rhythm.
But you just said it's Final Fantasy themed. How is that possible?
Because Kingdom Hearts games aren't. Kingdom Hearts games are a little overrated.
You didn't get what I was saying, John.
I got what you said. I'm just not going to acknowledge it because it's bullshit. Kingdom Hearts as a franchise is fine, but I'm sure that'll make a lot of people happy.
I'm sure they love
hearing it.
We're talking again. You saw John crushed.
They love hearing me say that. But no, so there's a ton of Theater Rhythm. You know what, Britt and I had this discussion. How do you guys say it? How do you guys say this word?
It's Theater Rhythm.
I say Theater Rhythm. Yeah.
I say Theater Rhythm.
Theater Rhythm's.
I used to say Theater Rhythm, but I was corrected back when I worked.
I've actually just been calling it Final Bar Line. I feel like it's easier.
When I worked at Nintendo when Curtain Call dropped, and I was hard corrected as a marketing and PR person that I needed to say Theater Rhythm. So it's Theater Rhythm.
Did a Square Enix
Reggie took you out back
your door? Reggie took off his sunglasses and fired the eye lasers at Derek.
Reggie actually personally killed my dog for that mistake.
Don't fuck it up again.
Yeah, I did.
Brit in chat is correct. It's feet rhythm.
Don't like that.
It is feet rhythm.
We've
That is the
already said
second
we're not
feet
talking about
reference
feet
today.
We're not
So-
talking about feet.
But no, like there's a lot of great DLC for that game coming down the. We just got some live stuff. There's songs from the Mana franchise, Chrono Trigger, fucking Xenogears of all things, Nier. Like this, there's tons of stuff coming all through, and this stuff is peppered
I don't
all
care about
throughout the
any
year. But you should, Jeff, because especially Nier and Chrono Trigger have some
for all the shit I give Nier, the soundtrack is phenomenal. I hope we
Yeah.
get some
Dragon
Harvest Style
Quest. Is
music
there
in
Dragon
there.
Quest music in there?
I don't think so. I haven't seen any.
Sugiyama's dead, so it could happen.
It should.
It's
Yeah.
it's a weird thing to complain about because it has by far the most songs in the game, but there's a lot of missing 14 tracks. Like I'm still working my way through it. There's only like one Heavensward song. I think there's only like two Stormblood. Like there's a lot from the base game, which, and I get it's tough. Like the game has a lot of great music to choose from, but there's no Endwalker music at all. And I just hope that we get that in DLC because that has some of the best music in the whole game.
Like they've already said that they're not planning on adding Endwalker music, which I think would be a huge misstep.
Yeah. I mean, I can't complain because the game has like 400 songs. So I'm not actually going to say
by the time all the DLC releases,
Yeah.
Jeff, it'll have 500 songs total.
Yeah, right. So it's
Like,
just a little personal.
yeah.
Like, why can't I have my Endwalker?
That's a lot of songs for a rhythm game.
Jeff, what's your team?
I've
party?
mostly been rocking the 14 team just because that's like, I basically just I've been playing through an order. So I just started at Final Fantasy 1. That's the other thing is I've never played like basically 1 through 6. So this was actually like a great way for me to experience some of the classic music from those games. But also again, as a big 14 fan, I told this to John a while ago. There was like so much that obviously 14 pulls from the whole legacy of Final Fantasy. And it's a cool way for me to recognize like, oh, Matoya's Cave is like from, I think, Final Fantasy 3 or something like that.
Final Fantasy 1.
I didn't know that in 14, but now like seeing the tracks and the background and stuff like that, it's just, it's a really cool thing. But yeah, no, my team has mostly been the 14 team. Thancred, Ida, Ishtola, and Alphanode. But, but generally, I just do a team for each game. So like Final Fantasy 4 is like, Cecil, 7's like Cloud and Aerith and stuff like that. So I kind of just pick the appropriate team for the game.
I like bounce back and forth between two parties. I have a party of my favorite protagonist and party of my favorite villain. So
nice.
I'll rock Terra, Ramza, Lightning, and Kane. And my villain team is Garland, Kefka, Gilgamesh, and Kuja. And I just like hop back and forth between these two teams. And it's so fucking funny to see like this little chibi version of Kefka say shit like, I'll build my own empire of death. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Like
that's the other thing that's really cool. Like every character has
like watching a middle schooler try to be tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Derek, if you run into a middle schooler walking around her school saying, I'll build my own empire of death, you should probably notify.
Man, that's one in every 8 middle schoolers. I don't know if you've met one, but
yeah, I'm just saying though, man. Like
I remember being one. It's an edgy time.
Did you at one point attempt to build your own empire of death?
No. None of them ever try it. They just say it.
Empire of Death just sounds like a good band
name. They fantasize.
It does sound like a really good name. It's a really good band name. Jeff, you got anything else?
No, other than that, it's just, I hate to be so on brand. It's just Final Fantasy time. I finished my Heavensward replay. I guess I'm just replaying all of 14. I'm doing New Game Plus on Stormblood now, and I'm about halfway through Stormblood.
That you're replaying 14. Like,
yeah. Well, you know what? It's on New Game Plus. It's honestly not that bad because so like the way it works is as you work your way through new zones, when you're first playing the game, you have to unlock something called ether currents. And they are what let you eventually fly in the zone, which lets you move around a lot faster. But since I've already unlocked all that stuff, you'd be shocked how fast you can just hop between quests and resolve them. Like, you could probably knock out an expansion in like 20 hours, which isn't that bad. Hi, Luna. Okay. Anyways, sorry. I'm done. Cat's here.
I'll go next. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. I just cleared the Mount Ordeal's EX trial, which is like, for those who don't know, like, Extreme and Savage and Unreal versions. Like that's all like the high level, like really difficult you know, you need to like watch a video online and you're trying this shit for weeks before you can clear it. I cleared it last night and I was really happy about that. I was like, oh fucking finally. And I've also been playing Octopath Traveler 2 for review. Now we got our code shortly before the game released, and this is like a 90 to 100 hour fucking game. So what
There's gonna be a hot minute before we have a full review ready.
Well, what I'm doing starting tomorrow is I'm releasing Octopath Traveler journals. And so I'm recording my time through each portion of the game, starting from chapters 1 through 2, then 2 through 3, then 3 through 4. And I'm going to be putting some talking points over video. And you know, kind of talking about the journey of these characters. It's a very long game. It's a very good fucking game. In fact, I'm about 25 hours in, I want to say, and this is one of the best. This is one of the best role playing games I have played in years. This is, I mean, if this game can keep the momentum up, this will be one of the all time greats for me. Every aspect of this game. When held next to the first one, every aspect of Octopath Traveler 2 is vastly improved from the first one. The biggest criticism that people had of Octopath Traveler was that the interactions between characters were almost non-existent, right? Like each one of these stories was very, very self-contained. And like, you know, these characters would pop up in battle during these stories, but really there was no meaningful interaction between characters. It was kind of like a saga game. In Octopath Traveler 2, there is a much more overall cohesive story linking these 8 stories together, and there's so much more interactivity between these characters. They actually feel like a team that is working together. They'll reference each other in battle, you know, like if one of them is low on health, you know, one of them will say, you know, hey, I'm worried about so and so, and you know, like if one character heals another, they'll thank that character by name. So there's just little stuff like that really makes the team feel more cohesive. And this is basically like the apex of Square Enix's HD 2D format.
I've heard that like the jump from Octopath 1 to 2
was nuts.
Like in terms of not just in terms of like the visual presentation, but like the quality of the writing.
Oh, it's great.
The interconnectivity of the story, that this is just leaps and bounds beyond the original, which is
great.
Crazy to think.
It's great. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the best. It's one of the most improved game, like, you know, franchise iterations I have seen in the better part of a decade. Everything about this game sings. Like for context, Jason Schreier like famously hated Octopath Traveler. Like he hated it.
Yeah.
He finished Octopath Traveler 2 and said this is one of the best JRPGs I've ever played. You know, and like the leap in quality is absolutely astounding. And Derek, this game is so full of little borderline shit posts and little jokes, and like there's one boss enemy that has its face painted like the Joker, right? Like it looks like the Joker. It's not the Joker, but it's got like, you know, the white clown makeup, like you know, it's like a jester type, you know, themed boss, right? And this this boss character was poisoned right before the battle, and so the battle starts and you see these really big elaborate sprites, you know, and you know this boss enemy's like, you know, prepare to die, like, you know, I'll send you to your grave, blah 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 blah. And then as soon as the battle starts, that boss takes 420 points of damage and dies.
That's so fucking stupid, but I respect it.
It is I was like, wow. Like I had to put my controller down and walk away. I was like, wow. I almost expected that boss character to you know, its dying you know, like its dying gasp was like, you know, we live in a society, but that didn't happen. But I fucking lost it. It was so good. But yeah, Octopath Traveler 2 is just an absolutely phenomenal experience so far, and it is so like, you know, enemies actually have like attack animations now, these sprite based enemies, and it's just like the whole game just from top to bottom is so fucking good. Like I could sit here all night and talk about how much I love Octopath Traveler, but I won't. In fact, I will pass the baton to CJ. I'll pass the conch shell to CJ, and he can yell into it. What have you been playing, dude?
I don't want to think about video games. I've not touched like a game regularly in weeks. The two main things I've been playing lately, I've been watching a lot of movies, guys. Like every night, something new. Goddamn. I picked up Like a Dragon Ishin, the weekend of launch. Oh man, it's great. I haven't played a Yakuza game in a while, but I love that it's just like the Zero Kiwami 1 style of Yakuza game, just in a different time period. I'm like 10 hours in. So I barely scratched the surface of it. I got like another 400 hours to go. I love the combat. I love the. It's just traditional, no bullshit Yakuza, just with samurai, like some samurai set dressing. It's confusing because none of these characters are actually the characters that they are. The Yakuza games are just all like playing real historical figures. It takes a lot to get used to, but I'm enjoying it so far. The main thing I've been playing, I was playing it right before we started recording. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
Hell yeah, CJ Core.
I need to pick that up, CJ.
Oh,
Is it good?
Oh my gosh.
Is it good? Why would you even ask that?
You know what? Look, I haven't played this game. I played it on the Wii back in the day.
Okay. I never played the Wii version, right? So I didn't. I knew I was expecting like Did this get good reviews? Was it like popular? Because I know Kirby games are weird when it comes to like I
mean, Kirby games are generally pretty
This was a well-reviewed and popular game.
It was before the fatigue, I assume. Before like
there's almost never been Kirby fatigue, to be honest with you.
I think the 3DS era, no, wasn't it like?
Well, who the fuck gets tired of Kirby?
Return to Dreamland was a little unique because it's a game that was originally revealed on the GameCube, and was very famously like kind of went on the back burner for years and years and years, and was finally re-revealed and released on the Wii. And it was the first console Kirby game, like traditional console Kirby game, since Crystal Shards on N64. Yeah. So people were pretty happy with it, even though I think the game was pretty bog standard Kirby, but like bog standard Kirby's really good.
That's what I'm at, because since I most recently played Forgotten Land, which is my favorite game last year. This game is still great. Like it's traditional Kirby. I love the cel shaded look. I love the it's again just like you said, Derek. Box standard Kirby is still better than most games. Like there is a lot of detail. Like when Kirby gets in the water, he has a little pool floaty. When he has like the taunts when you move the right control stick.
There's really good, really tight little platformers, and
oh my god! So I'm on the second or third world now, and again, it's just so breezy. I've 100%ed every level I played on my first try. It's nice to play something that isn't like meant to have me rip my hair out.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's just this wonderful, pure little platformer that I will like eat up like wonderful. Again, I'm willing to say that for the second year in a row, a Kirby game will probably be my game of the year. Because I haven't been looking forward to anything this year. It's just Like a Dragon and Kirby, and I'm playing both of them now. So I'm all in. I've really been enjoying it. Looks great on the OLED screen since I've been playing it handheld. I absolutely adore it.
The dream for me, CJ, is still like an HD port of Planet Robobot, which I still consider to be the greatest Kirby game.
I was thinking of that, so I'm like, they should do Triple Deluxe Robobot and then like the 3DS remake of Epic Yarn in some sort of bundle or something. Like
Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot alone would be enough.
Like I would love virtually every single like something like the ones that could. I doubt like Rainbow Curse could work on which one's the one the Wii U one like that requires the
Rainbow Curse.
That's Rainbow Curse. Yeah.
Like I doubt that could work, but like every other mainline one, you know what I'm saying? Hell, what? Let me see really quickly. Because I think there was one that was on. They just added. Oh, also, did I? I don't know if I was here when I talked about it, bro. They put Tetris 1 on the Switch. I'm out. I'm gone. That's it.
Are you talking about Game Boy? The Game Boy?
Oh yeah, John. Do you remember that time you were like giving me shit because I was making fun of you for owning a Game Boy with the game, and I was like, talking.
Yeah.
To you,
how
like,
about that?
You're never gonna be able to play this game. To that I say, suck my fucking dick, John, because I've been playing it like for like weeks on my Switch. It's great.
I mean, it's not going to be as good as playing it on original hardware.
No, it's better. It's better.
No, not really, because you got to deal with those bullshit fucking board. Well, like all jokes aside, those borders on NSO need to go.
Man, I'm bummed that I wasn't.
I
here
never
for
even
the-
noticed them, man. I don't know why.
No.
that worked out.
I hate them because I am always on the SNES and the N64.
They're bad. They need to go.
I just
But
never
they
noticed them.
Actually, and since I wasn't here for that, because there was a direct talk, man, I fucking love that they finally got Game Boy games on here. Oh
Yo,
my
much
god,
needed. Much needed.
Long overdue.
Oh,
I
long
dodged
overdue.
a fucking bullet though, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
About the Pokemon games. So
Yes, you did. Those
I
are
would love
coming
the
though.
Pokemon games. I would absolutely love to play the old Pokemon games.
I would
somehow.
love for them to do it. I just don't believe that they'll ever do it.
Probably not.
So,
Well, the trading card. Well, it's just
the mainline games, they're not going to put Pokemon like Red or Gold or
Why?
Sapphire.
Or is it because they don't want the fan base
Because
to play
Pokemon
anything.
Company's weird, right? Like
just in case
they're-
they ever want to remake them and re-release them.
Well,
what
they've
Derek,
done
what you
remakes,
said
they just-
before was like they don't want you playing a Pokemon game other than the new one, right?
Makes sense.
Right.
So
They want
they
you
don't want you
playing
to
the
play
newest
Red
game.
instead of playing whatever Sword
or
Shield
if you do, they want you to pay $30 for it, right? They
Yeah.
don't want, or $20. They don't want it to be part of like Nintendo and Pokemon Company simply view Pokemon as a separate thing.
That makes sense. It's like the only thing that's been like, you know what I'm saying? Mario,
Yeah.
Zelda, Metroid, Kirby. That's all. Even though Kirby's second party technically, that's all Nintendo. Like Pokemon
Yeah.
is like a different entity entirely. So like, yeah, Kirby's Dream Land's on here. Fucking what a bizarre lineup though. Alone in the Dark, the Game and Watch Gallery
it's
3,
so fucking weird.
Gargoyle
Like,
Quest.
Gargoyle's
the-
Quest
do
is
not
good,
fucking-
though.
Gargoyle's Quest, fucking
No,
CJ.
but
Have you
I'm
not
saying,
played Gargoyle's
I've
Quest?
never played
But
it.
it's a
hold
weird
on.
choice.
It's
Oh,
funny.
CJ.
It's funny that the one Capcom game on this lineup so far is fucking Gargoyle's Quest.
No.
None of the Castle, none of the Mega Man games.
So,
it's
so
hilarious.
CJ, as our resident 2D platformer guy, after this podcast, you need to fire up Gargoyle.
I will try.
Gargoyle's Quest fucking rules, dude. It's a classic.
I am excited. I haven't played around with it, but did they add Super Game Boy filters, or is it just like different colors?
No, there's filters in there. I don't know. I haven't fucked around with them too much. But dude, the first game I fired up and played on Game Boy was Gargoyle's Quest.
Not for me, it was Tetris.
Dude, Gargoyle's Quest is so fucking.
You guys know how addicted I was to Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. And I was kind of bummed that there's no a way to play like the original NES version of Tetris on a modern console. I'm happy. I'm so happy.
I will say this, and Derek, with the Game Boy Advance, and this is, it's good we're talking about this because we just found out Metroid Fusion is coming to Game Boy Advance next week. On NSO, with the Game Boy Advance games finally coming to Switch, people are I personally prefer original hardware, but I am so happy that generations of gamers who never experienced, dude, the Game Boy Advance has one of the richest libraries in gaming history.
Maybe the greatest handheld.
Metroid Fusion's already
Right.
Metroid Fusion, when it hits on GBA, like on the Nintendo Switch Online, will be one of the best games on the Switch. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah, and then when Metroid Zero Mission comes out, same thing. When Golden Sun 1 and 2 come out, same thing. When fucking Gunstar Superheroes,
I just love that they put the Mario 3 remake on there, which is hilarious to me. That one of the slots is filled with the Mario 3 remake, and then on the Game Boy side, the original version of which one? Link's Awakening.
Or Link to the Past.
Oh, dude, we're getting the fucking Oracle games. Like, holy
Yeah, we are.
shit.
Yeah, we are.
Seasons and Ages, baby. If you've
shit.
never
So
played Seasons and Ages, they're so fucking good.
I'm hyped.
They're some of my favorite.
I love this console. I'm glad. I'm happy. Like I am. Like I was telling you guys how badly we need a Game Boy game. No fucking Mole Mania. No fucking
No,
Mole Mania.
absolutely
Nintendo,
not.
come on. What are you doing? What are you doing?
CJ, you got anything else, bud?
No, that's about it.
Derek, what about you, man?
So I've
playing?
been playing a couple things over the last week and some change. I picked up Bayonetta 3, which I was overdue to play, right? As a huge Bayonetta fan, I'd realized it was really a crime that I had gone this long without picking it up.
I should probably go back and finish that.
Yeah, so I picked it up. I'm playing it. I like it. I like it because the vibes of Bayonetta are always really good. Bayonetta's a fucking queen. But like, man, that game immediately wants to be the most platinum a game can be in a way that is kind of wearing me out. Can I be real with y'all? Like, holy shit, the platinum action game format used to be super fresh. And now that there's a million of them, like, they're starting to lose kind of their uniqueness. And there's
What's the
points
best kind of this game, Derek? I'm curious, like of like the recent, like not just platinum, but like the character action games that have been released.
Well, I mean, the best like recent character action game was in is Devil May Cry 5 by
I was about to say.
by a fucking mile.
I was about to say.
But like I love Bayonetta 2, right? And I mean even the original Bayonetta is great, but there's just a lot of little mechanics being stacked together, and it's feeling kind of perfunctory from a gameplay standpoint in a way that's I'm almost a little sad for. But I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna beat it because my dedication to Bayonetta is complete. I do want to know what happens with this character in the story, even though the story in Platinum games is never why you play them. But you know, I'm having a good time. I don't want to sound like I'm coming down too hard on Bayonetta 3. It's a good game. It's a really good character action game. It's just, yeah, I think that Platinum has not done enough to move forward since like the original Bayonetta, right? And you can see that kind of lack of evolution through all of their character action games that they've done over time. I've also been playing Splatoon 3, which I had not played until recently. It's another Nintendo published title that I love the first two games of, and for some reason simply missed out on the third one.
I need to play this.
Yeah. I don't really do the multiplayer in Splatoon. Y'all know me. Famously, I'm not a huge like Final Fantasy. Wow, why did I say Final Fantasy? Splatoon. I'm a huge Final Fantasy person. I'm not a huge. I was looking. Sorry, I was reading the chat, and Jeff said that he doesn't think we're gonna get to 16, and just words entered my head.
No, we'll get to 16.
I'm famously a Final Fantasy person. I'm famously not an online multiplayer kind of person. So I get Splatoon and I just play the campaigns, but I have a great time because I think they have really good campaigns. They're very fun. The level design is interesting. They have really unique mechanics. And I think if you're the kind of person who likes to overread into like Nintendo games made for children and the weird shit in the background, Splatoon is almost the perfect franchise because it's built on like it's kind of built on the concept of like humans fucked themselves into extinction because we were lazy and greedy capitalists. And anytime you can put like the hint of a dark backstory into a children's thing, like mwah, stupid nerds are all over it, me included. But I really I'm really liking my time with Splatoon 3 so far. It's just good. It's just fun. The thing I've been doing more than either of those games, to be honest with you, is Clone Hero. Not playing Clone Hero an awful lot, just building like a stupidly large music library. I'm up to about 2,800 songs in my library for Clone Hero. I shared it with the SDGC crew because we've got to do Clone Hero together when we get together. But I mean, that's just music library curation is more than even playing the game itself. But that's what I've been doing for now. I think I'll be done with Splatoon's campaign and with Bayonetta before too long, which will let me check them off my list and move on to other games, and that will feel incredible. I need games I can beat at this point, instead of games I can get 40 hours into, be halfway done with, and put on the back burner.
Derek,
Yeah?
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bud.
I appreciate you too, Jeff.
Is it obvious how affected I am?
Not at
It
all,
is.
actually.
It is. It is.
Not to me.
No,
Completely
you know what?
different.
I also appreciate CJ because he's got impeccable handheld gaming tastes, like just absolutely impeccable. I do think there was a topic that we've kind of forgotten. I do think we need to spend just a few minutes talking about Final Fantasy.
Oh, we're going to talk
16.
about... Oh, never mind.
Well, because hands-on impressions dropped this week.
Oh.
But I haven't played it. I didn't get hands-on impressions. What am I going to talk about?
As
But I'm
Square
not gonna.
Enix,
But I'm
as-
not gonna play it.
as sponsored Square Enix content creators,
John,
I
I
think we
can't
should probably
believe you
talk
would
about this.
hijack the podcast to drop in an
Oh.
unsanctioned Final Fantasy discussion. People went hands-on and the game is good,
Unsanctioned.
man. I don't know what to tell you.
Can I talk about it for a few
Okay.
minutes?
Okay.
This is a
Jeez,
Final
Derek.
Fantasy ambush, is what this is.
So, for anybody who didn't know, Final Fantasy 16 hands-on impressions dropped this week. This is the first time journalists have actually had a chance to play the game. And right off the bat, if you've played Devil May Cry 5, you will immediately know that because the guy who led Devil May Cry 5's combat is in charge of the combat in Final Fantasy 16, and it is immediately apparent.
That's pretty cool.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
It has completely dropped the I mean, it's an action RPG now, right? Like it's more so than
I like
15
action
was.
RPGs. I just don't like character action games. So
Well,
that's where I'm like a little.
USA characters welcome.
So every single person who played this game said that it felt incredible to play. What people like, and the atmosphere is much different than Final Fantasy game, because like every Final Fantasy game has had like some whimsy to it, right? Like it's had some, oh, there's some funny shit here and fun mini games and stuff like that. This is much more like Game of Thrones shit. Like they're swearing, like the F-bomb gets dropped. Like, I mean, it's much darker in tone. There's like a lot of blood. Like it's much darker in tone.
This is the Shadow the Hedgehog of the series.
A little bit.
Okay,
That's a great, great way to put it, CJ.
I
It's
thought
a great way
Stranger
to
of
put
Paradise was the Shadow the Hedgehog.
Okay,
of the series.
mainline.
Yeah.
Mainline.
But there was a the kind of like the highlight of the previews was a fight with one of the characters whose name is Benedicta. Like you play as Clive. You only play as Clive. Clive is the only character you actually control. There are party members that are present, like your dog Torgal and Sid are present in the slice that journalists play. Your dog is like always with you, and you can pet him. That's been confirmed. You can absolutely pet Torgal, which is great. You know he's gonna fucking die at the end, and it's gonna rip us all apart. I could see it coming a mile away, but there are, I think, like the highlights of almost everybody's impressions was the icon fight. The icons are like the summons in this game. And there's an icon fight in the demo that people played where you play as Ifrit and you're fighting Garuda, and it was described as like a kaiju battle, right? Like these two skyscraper-sized summon beasts are just like pounding each other, and Yoshi P was like, I wanted to make it like a wrestling match, right? But each of the icon fights are different. The one for Phoenix is much more of a Panzer Dragoon style on-rail shooter. And so all of these icon fights are going to be different. Yes, Adma, pounding, absolutely. There's a lot of pounding going on in Final Fantasy 16. Copious amounts of pounding, actually.
I hate this.
But I
pound a few cold ones, am I right, fellas?
Yeah, working hard or hardly working. But I pretty much everybody who played it came away with it like just absolutely glowing impressions of it. And honestly, like it kind of like more than just Final Fantasy 16, it hammered home to me just how strong Square Enix has started this year. You know, because like you have, Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line, which is just an absolute fucking banger. Octopath Traveler 2, fucking awesome game. You got the Pixel remasters coming. You've got, Final Fantasy 16. Like it's just like great start to the year for them. I was really hoping that 16 would play well and present well, and I think that we are looking at something really special dropping on us in June. And Finn is actually going to be doing the review for us. And it has been years since I've been this hyped for a game, and the previews just got me even more hyped. I'm so fun, and like everything sucks right now, so I needed something to be this hyped about. So man, what a good looking fucking game. Oh, and there is a performance mode where everything will run at a very smooth 60 frames a second. Which is if it's a fast-paced character action game and you're not playing it on performance mode, I don't really know what you're doing. I'm so I'm so excited, guys. Like, oh, it's gonna be so fucking good. Anyway, Derek, I wanted to since we are Square Enix content creators, we should probably talk about that a little bit.
That's some good bullshit there, John.
Derek, what's our first major topic tonight? Why don't you launch us into it?
All right. Oh, I just fucked my hair up bad. The first major topic tonight is, let's talk about Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever the fuck is coming next.
What?
Because there's been, in the last week or so, here's the thing. There's been so much talk for so many years about a Nintendo Switch, like a beefier Nintendo Switch, right? We were hearing about a Switch Pro for so many years, and it never came out as a real thing. And I want to say it was Digital Foundry. Somebody came out and clarified and said, okay, well, at one point this was real. We were planning, there was plans for a Switch Pro, but COVID basically made that not a realistic possibility. So that's why we only got the OLED. Okay, sure. But people are burned out on rumors and leaks about improved Nintendo hardware. So that makes it a little difficult to hear a series of rumors / leaks about a Nintendo Switch successor in a row in the last week, right? Just to give you all the background information, first, there was a poster on a social media site that posted about, basically correctly leaked a bunch of information about the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, who also said that there was a more powerful Switch successor coming, supposed to be timed roughly to the time of the second DLC release, something like that. They needed to have basically a Switch 2 version graphics update ready in time for the second DLC, is what he said.
Can I just say how weird it is to time something to a DLC for an existing game?
Well, I think from what he said, I don't think the point is that Switch 2 was supposed to launch when the second DLC did, but that if this is going to be a situation where games run better and can unlock if there's going to be multiple graphics profiles to a game where you can have a Switch version and a Switch 2 version for when you run that game on Switch 2 and it has better textures and better frame rate and such, that they needed that to be ready by X time, right? Probably so to be ready before the next system launched.
So Derek, here's my question.
Yeah.
It's obvious at this point that we are entering entering the sunset of the Switch's life cycle.
Let me get to that.
Okay.
If I may. So we had that. We had Jeff Grubb, man of many mixed track records, came out and said he had heard things about a new Nintendo system reveal happening late this year. Consider it rumor. He said, I can't verify it. Don't treat this as gospel. Just, this is a thing I have heard and I'm keeping an eye on it. That's one thing. A lot of people are saying oh, Jeff Grubb is once again, predicting a thing he's going to walk back on. And Grubb's made it very clear that this is a thing he cannot verify. So take it with a grain of salt. So we got that. I know. And Grubb, I wish he'd be a little bit better about this stuff, but it's clear the path he has chosen. Even if I like him as a person, that can be frustrating. And then just today, the Nintendo ninjas got a hold of a well-known Chinese message board and leaker who has correctly leaked a bunch of stuff in their production. Somebody who clearly is involved in hardware production over in China, right? And can say oh yeah, we're putting together a new, the Nintendo Switch OLED and it's got, this and this. And it seems like they might have shut him down in advance. Now, I don't like leaks and rumors about hardware because so much of it's turned out to be shit. We all remember the days of the NX speculation. If you're old enough, you remember the days of the Nintendo Revolution speculation, which is a throwback to some of us old fucks in the chat. But to John's point, I think if you look at where we're at in the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, I know the Nintendo Switch is selling a shitload right now, but this system's 6 years old.
It's time.
It's going to be turning 7 by next March. Like this, and this system, we are due to be hearing some stuff about new Nintendo hardware, I think, whether or not any of these so-called leaks or rumors end up being remotely true, right? Like, how much longer can Nintendo go until they start planning on something? What comes after Switch?
So I think the reason they're waiting, Derek, is because they want to see this pass PS2 as the highest-selling console of all time, and it probably will.
I've got different ideas, but I do want to hear you talk for a bit.
Well, so like, you know, this is the last, like, I firmly believe we're entering like the last full year of the Switch, right? Like this is it. And Nintendo, they're so close to, I mean, this thing is close to being the highest selling console of all time. If they were to announce a new Switch now, that goes out the window. People just be like, oh, well, why the fuck would I buy a Switch when there's one coming out this year? Which I do believe that the new Switch will come out this winter.
Well, that's definitely true. If you announce a new Switch, then you handicap Switch sales.
You've immediately decapitated your Switch sales. So here's what I think is going to happen, Derek. You're going to see this thing get announced in like June. Either that or like I could even see them dragging it out till September, to be perfectly honest with you. Because I've already said they're not going to be at E3 this year. Now, whether or not they do a direct around that time is anybody's guess. But I think you are going to see, because remember the reveal for the Switch, the period of time from the reveal to the release was like 3 months. They revealed it it was.
It was like October to.
They had the reveal.
It was October.
The reveal was in like it was September, October.
When they
then they had. And then they revealed it, and then they had the big blowout in January, where they went. But the original teaser trailer of like,
October. He's right.
Yeah, the dude taking his Switch to the park and with his dog in the rooftop party. That was October.
I never took my Switch to a rooftop party. Can you guys believe that shit?
I have never been to a roof. No, I take it back. I've been to rooftop parties, but not in a very long time.
Jeff, shut the fuck up.
Bro. Why people are weird? What the fuck are you guys doing on a roof?
Drinking mostly. Weirdly, the last rooftop party I was at was a fucking Nintendo event. So
okay, that doesn't count.
Yeah,
so this thing
is pre-Switch.
This thing is absolutely like let's say, I think it's this winter, but let's say by next March, this thing is absolutely coming out, right? So I think that Metroid Prime Remastered released when it did for a reason. I think you're going to see Metroid Prime 4 this year. I think you'll see it revealed, and it's going to launch as a Switch 2 game with and it'll do the same
cross-gen.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It'll do the same thing that Breath of the Wild did, right?
I can see that.
But and I think that's even more important for Nintendo now because Prime Remastered is selling so well.
Oh yeah, they can't keep up on physical copies.
Yeah, which they clearly were not expecting.
No.
But
fucking idiots.
So here's my question. This is for everyone. Nintendo does make some Nintendo ass decisions. And so my first question is, and I think this is the most important question, is this thing backwards compatible?
It has to be. If this thing isn't just a Switch 2, then I don't fucking know what to do at this point. Right?
I think the thing with Nintendo is to my knowledge, generally they're backwards compatible unless they switch media formats, right? So the Wii still played GameCube games.
And the Wii U played
and
Wii games.
The Wii U still played Wii games. Obviously the Switch didn't support Wii or like because like the format switched back to a cartridge. So
like the GBA played Game Boy Color, Game Boy games, the original, the DS Lite played Game Boy Advance games.
To me, the more interesting question is like, I believe there's severe storage issues with the cartridge system, which isn't a big deal now because like they have to put potato games on the console because that's all it can run. But if you're genuinely moving to a next generation Nintendo console, I don't see how those cartridges hold up. So that's
Well, if it's going to continue to be like a handheld hybrid, I don't see how they do anything but cartridges.
I mean, they'd be foolish
how are
to
you going to
abandon the
put
hybrid format, right?
Like, I mean, how are you going to fit? Like, what's going to be on those cartridges? How are you going to fit any new like AAA release on that?
Download them, I guess. They're
What's
going
the
to have
storage
to, like,
capacity on
they're
those?
gonna
I'm
have to,
genuinely
like-
asking. I don't know.
yeah.
I mean,
Right,
I mean, look, like you can fit a terabyte of information on an SD card now.
That's
right?
true, but those are
Like-
An
those are
SD card, but that's not a Nintendo Switch card. Which
No,
is
I know.
I'm
No, I know that.
Yeah.
No, all I'm
you
saying
can
is
get
not, like
you can get
do it.
128 gig flash memory for those carts. The problem is it's going to be expensive.
But that's
right.
That's not even enough for some games.
Well, true, but you also have to think that I mean this thing's not going to be a 4K machine, right?
Well,
like
I don't know. Is it?
there's
Okay,
no
so
way.
that's my
There's
thing.
no way.
No, and it
I-
doesn't need to be though. Like
Man, but
it
what-
doesn't
but
need to be.
It should be.
Not if it's going to be a handheld. You're not going to
handheld.
get something that is a handheld that can render 4K. Like this is not going to happen.
Does it launch with an
Um,
OLED screen?
Yes.
Maybe. I don't know. Shit. Fucking
I feel like it has
What if,
to, right?
what if their next machine is like comparable to something like the Steam Deck?
well, so that's the thing is one
Mhm.
one thing that is probably a reasonable leak
1080p,
is
32
because it
frames per second.
came by way of Nvidia, who Nvidia is notoriously kind of leaky. Is it does look like we know about the details of either the chipset for the Switch 2 or what was at some point planned to be the chipset for the Switch 2, which is roughly equivalent to something like a PS4 or a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
But in handheld format, slightly newer architecture, DLSS compatible, which means it can do the AI upscaling for higher resolutions. So it's very likely, based on that kind of information, which again, we're going into leak and rumor territory, so like grain of salt. But if they're going to go with NVIDIA again anyway, like, DLSS is going to be a part of this thing, your expectation should be set to something that can render at 1080p and maybe AI upscale to 4K. But if that's the case, your texture assets and things like that are going to be 1080p. You're not going to have 4K graphic assets.
Yeah, and I don't
on the
like
part.
like obviously the visuals, whatever they are, will be improved, right? But
Yeah,
Nintendo
I mean,
Nintendo is not chasing visual fidelity the way PlayStation and Xbox are, right? Like they're more about innovating in like how you play your games, right?
Well, and DLSS would be a bigger stopgap than you think, because you can render a game in fucking 720p and just upscale to
Well, and like kind of ties in what you're saying there. Like, everyone keeps calling the Switch a hybrid system. It's not actually a hybrid system.
handheld with
handheld
HDMI
system
out.
that has a video out capability to your
Yeah,
TV.
the PSP did the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, but I mean, it's still like apropos, right? Because there are games that run better in docked mode than they.
Well, sure,
than they do in
because it
handheld.
has access to higher power and better fan speeds when it's docked, and of course you can sync multiple controllers to it. Like I love playing the PSP on my TV, but like I couldn't put 4 controllers up to it and play, fucking Mario Kart 4-player. You know what I mean?
You wouldn't be able to. It's a PSP, Derek. There's no Mario Kart game.
Right, but there was no games that were local multiplayer on PSP because it was a PSP. But like, I do think that storage is still going to be a limiting factor, because I think that you're going to see 128 gig probably be the max cart size, just for realistic, like, here's what it's going to cost to make custom flash storage for these cartridges. That's going to get expensive. Nintendo and publishers don't want to take a loss on these games. That's not how it works. So, I think that will still be a limiting factor. Or games go digital only.
I guess my question there, Eric, I think you compared the potential power of this to something like a PS4 and Xbox One. Are we still not going to see, big AAA releases on this thing? Is it still going to be a Nintendo first party?
Probably, and
I mean, like something. I mean, look,
like,
we're just finally entering the end of the cross-gen era, and we're getting stuff like Dead Space Remake. Is Dead Space Remake going to run on this?
Let me put
Probably
it this
not.
way: Switch has done better than at getting third-party support on like the big mainstream AAA games than a lot of previous Nintendo systems.
Right.
Than the Wii and Wii U anyway.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Still
they
not
don't need
close to
make,
parity, but
they don't. But they don't need. You're right. Like EA doesn't have to make like a different version of a game, or Activision or Ubisoft. They don't have to do like their weird like truncated Wii version of the same game that's everywhere else.
But look, most people aren't buying Nintendo consoles to play third-party games.
Well,
They're buying them.
they
to play
would if they were there.
first-party-
I disagree. I think what we've seen with the Switch is everyone says it's best on Switch. They love the portability. I think
And
people
they're
want to
wrong.
play these games on the toilet or
Yeah.
in bed.
It-
on a roof.
it's
a big
it's
demand
for
them.
people. It's
In the
for
middle of a
people
party.
whose value system is because not everybody is looking for
Mhm.
the shiniest version of graphics.
Yeah.
Right, the convenience of the Switch matters a lot to people. That's why indies have done so well on Switch, is because indies are gonna look the same no matter what they're on for the most part. So if they look just as good on PS5 as they do on a Switch, why not get it on the system where you can play it anywhere?
My thing is this, like, I think for a lot of us, the Switch is our second console, right?
It's like my fourth. but-
It's my first console. I play my Switch more than anything
That's
else.
what I'm saying. So you can't pigeonhole
You're right.
Nintendo
You're right.
as
You're right. You can't.
yeah.
You can't gauge it. I can't gauge. Well, I guess it depends on, because like my PS5 is like my primary, right?
yeah.
If I can, I'll I'll play whatever on there, right? My Switch is basically my platform machine and my indie machine.
See, it's funny
like,
because
I mean,
my Switch is my second. Like my PC is primary, and then
that's-
my Switch is anything that's not on PC or is just garbage on PC. And then my PS5 is basically a Sony first party machine at this point. You know what I mean?
See,
Like
my PS5.
is everything except Sony first party.
So my PS5 is a Final Fantasy 14 machine and like a Sony first party machine, and pretty much everything else I will play on Switch.
I'll probably get Street Fighter on PS5. It makes more sense.
It's my DVD, my 4K DVD player actually.
But
What is
but yeah,
what is this thing called?
man, I don't even want to
they-
fuck with names.
No, come on. I mean, if they don't call it the Switch Advanced, they're fucked up.
or
Dude,
Switch 2 or
it's
Super
called
Switch.
The Switch Advance, the Switch Advance SP. Please just call it that. Just throw in.
Called the Switch.
I want them to call it the Switch 2. I want them to keep it clear for customers that this is not like the Switch OLED. This is not a Pro model. This is a successor, right? There will be games that are Switch 2
add another eye.
exclusive.
Just add another eye.
Well,
Just
that's
call it
what
there.
fucking Nintendo will do. It'll be
Call
called
it
the
the
Switch.
PS5 and it'll sell like gangbusters because they're
Nintendo Switch U, new Nintendo Switch, Nintendo bottom.
not all right. All right,
Super
kids, we're not-
Super Nintendo Switch is a dope fucking name.
You're never gonna get that.
That's a good
Um,
fucking
No, they're
name.
gonna fuck it up. They're gonna call it Virtual Boy 2.
Virtu-
Here's
gonna have
an
a-
easier, maybe an easier question. If we don't know exactly what they're going to call it, do they keep Switch in the name?
yes.
I think so. The Switch brand is
100%.
powerful.
Well, actually, no.
The brand,
Hold up.
the brand is
Hold
too
up.
powerful.
What if they? What? No. But what if their train of thought is this? Hi, we're
Virtual
Nintendo. We
man.
fuck things up. If we call this the Switch, it's gonna be another Wii U situation.
Well,
Because
that's
it
what I'm
depends on
thinking.
how-
Like,
I
there
will
was
bring
some-
this up. Remember, we are two whole CEOs separated
I get
from
it,
the people
but
who
here's
made
my
all
thing.
those decisions, right?
How different is this from, like, let's say, okay, is this like the same console, just iterative and with some improvements, or is it gonna be something completely different? Like,
CJ Blaine is like, call it the Virtual Man.
Well, like,
yes, 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 Blaine, that's a good idea. Oh
I'd
my
like
God.
to believe-
is it generally accepted that that was a big problem with the Wii U? Is that it did share the same name with the Wii,
Yes.
and there was
Yeah,
confusion
well,
about.
thought it was
there
a
was
good add-on.
the marketing was
controller.
bad. It was
Okay.
the name wouldn't have been a problem if they had been more clear in other ways in their marketing that this was a separate system and not just like a
Okay.
controller add-on. That genuinely confused a lot of people. But also they had software issues in that time frame. There's a lot going on. I think one thing to like, it's good. It's like you will never stop hearing me rag on Nintendo and their stupid ass decisions. But like, look, and I love Iwata, but we are two whole separate CEOs away from when Iwata was in charge. And Iwata loved the whimsy of making these wild ass decisions. What's the new guy?
Oh, it's Koizumi. Is it Koizumi?
No, Koizumi's not the CEO.
Actually, it's funny because my question to you guys, like, is there like any
Furukawa. Wire put it out in chat.
Furukawa is running this shit more like a traditional tech company. So
like my main thing is like I guess I'm in a position now where I'm kind of tired of like the ramifications of the ocean strategy, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I think I'm bummed that we never got anything close to the GameCube.
Yeah.
That's just me because
Well, that's funny because to me the Switch feels like the closest thing to like a true GameCube
is.
successor, right?
Yeah,
Like,
GameCube in that it's on par with what the competition's doing.
You're
The
never
Game-
going to see that.
That's
You're
my
never going
problem.
to see that.
That's what bums me out, because if the GameCube had just launched with like a better optical, like a better media,
yeah, there would never have been an Xbox. It's straight up.
That's my thing, because we would have been that, and I guess that's the thing that bums me out, right? I love the Switch. The Switch is like an incredible like machine, but part of me just wants Nintendo to try a little harder to be on par with everyone else. They can do it.
It's hard because the only way, here's the thing, Nintendo fully has the resources to make something that competes with PS5 and Xbox Series X, and even blows them out of the water if they want to, right? But Nintendo looks at this and goes, there are two nearly identical systems vying to be the powerhouse under somebody's entertainment system, versus
that's not how you stand out.
Nobody is working in the handheld space, and the handheld space has always been where Nintendo's more successful, other than the Wii, and the entire Japanese market runs on handhelds. So if Nintendo was to abandon the Switch and just make a power box, first off, the gaming market in Japan collapses. And then they're in competition with two other people who are doing the same exact shit as them, but have the advantage of longer built up infrastructure, backwards compatibility that they don't have anymore.
Also, like there's no replicating the excitement that the general gaming audience has around Nintendo products and within any other, like, I mean, people get hyped about Nintendo Nintendo Directs in a way that people just don't about State of Plays or Xbox, whatever the fuck they call those things, showcases or whatever. But there is a palpable sense of excitement and hype around Nintendo products that just isn't present in other, in the other two. And that's not to say
that
because
Nintendo fans can be unhinged. So.
They can. But at the same time, like I don't know, like this
wide out.
I feel like the bottom line here is that this is Nintendo's field goal to either nail or completely miss. And
they just need to make a Switch 2 and they're guaranteed success.
Yeah, that's like it's
and
as simple
old
as
Nintendo would be fucking that up, but I get the feeling that they're gonna go straight forward on this. Now I have two scenarios for you, okay? And I'm curious which of these is more likely to you all. Theory number one is this thing is getting revealed in late summer and it's out in like December. And the reason I would think that is, bear with me here, we do not know shit about the back half of Nintendo's year, right? Anything past Pikmin, we don't have a clue, and they're skipping E3.
November, Derek, November.
And to me, well, maybe November. To me, why that could be is because because you cannot talk about the back half of their year without also talking about Switch 2. Right? You cannot talk about what's coming out in September, October, November without talking about Switch 2, right? Without talking about how those games run better on Switch 2 and look better on Switch 2 and maybe have extra functionality on Switch 2. And that's the reason the whole back half of the year is a secret, because it's literally too closely tied into the launch of the Switch 2 coming this holiday season.
Okay, Derek, and the rest of you tell me what you think. This is why it's going to launch in November, Derek. And this may be a super cynical way to look at it, but think about it for a minute. That is when the Pokemon Scarlet Violet DLC will drop, and they're going to be like, "This shit is going to run so much better on our new Nintendo Switch model."
They're going to do that no matter what.
Dude,
you want Pokemon to run at an acceptable frame rate by Switch 2. Like that's going to happen.
That is why that shit is dropping in November.
Okay, Derek, 100%. Here's the thing with your theory.
100.
I can't afford it yet, so no, it won't happen.
Yeah, I know. I can't afford it ever, so we're just gonna have to fight.
But you're right. No, you're right. I think we're gonna see it ASAP, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna skip E3. They're gonna announce this, overshadow fucking whatever Sony, Microsoft, and Ubisoft have planned for their E3 stuff, and it'll create this frenzy for like the holidays, right?
Yeah.
But my thing is this. Is it gonna? What's it aside from, like, I guess Pikmin, aside from Pokemon? what will this launch with? Is it just going to be enhanced versions of Switch games?
Metroid Prime 4.
Metroid Prime is
100%.
cross-gen. At this point, whether the
3D Mario?
long-held rumors... Well, the rumors have been that 3D Mario team was working on a 3D Donkey Kong game.
I will buy a new
Right.
console for that. Guys, let it be known. Hold up. I will spend $400 to buy a Donkey Kong game. 100%. I want that's for a 1080p 30
Tropical
frames per
Freeze
second.
2.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Tropical Freeze 2, Burnout Paradise 2. If they announce those two, that's it.
But like, don't second guess Nintendo, because remember, they sold the Switch almost exclusively on a better version of a Zelda game that was already coming out on the Wii U.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the exact same game, just slightly enhanced. You know what I'm saying? Because that's
You mean like Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild is different. Breath of the Wild is
No,
different.
it's not. It's exactly the same
You
scenario,
know why it's
man.
different? Because it was launching on a console that wasn't the Wii U. That's different.
Well, that's true. That's true.
That's different. No one had a
I'm
Wii
going to
U.
grant you that. Is that
I
they
played
need?
the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild. I just need to point that out.
Yeah, it's totally the same game.
Yeah, it
like
is.
so-
It's
okay.
it's slightly less pretty. Now here's scenario 2, okay? Here's scenario 2. Scenario 2 is they are going to be radio fucking silent until like late December. Okay, about this thing. They are not going to say a goddamn word because the Switch 2 is hitting like March, April, May.
I was going to say that's my guess, and I agree with you that they're going to keep silent because, like you said, Switch sales get cut off at the knees when they
Mhm.
announce
And the Switch
this.
is selling like crazy,
Yeah,
and
they're
would
going to get one more holiday season out of that, and then kill it, and then
Possible.
go into the new year. That's
And
that's
if
my
they can,
guess.
Totally plausible.
if this system isn't going to hit until next spring, then they're not going to say a goddamn thing about it until the majority of until holiday shit is basically over and it's too late.
So to bounce off what Jeff was saying, and he laid out a incredibly plausible scenario.
Also gives
there.
them a few more months to get games together.
So if this thing launches next March instead of this winter, then Metroid Prime 4 will launch this year, and the Switch next year, like whatever the next iteration is,
You
will
think
launch
Prime
with a new
4 is
Mario.
within a year of launch.
Yes, absolutely. I do. That's why they released Metroid Prime remastered out of nowhere. Like that,
Yeah.
like we knew that
Okay.
it's like, okay, this thing is going to be ready to go within a year. Let's drop Metroid Prime remaster, and especially now that there's so much fucking demand that they
Because
can't
Metroid Prime
match it.
Remastered was done for like a year and a half.
A year
right?
and a half, yeah.
So and
Like-
they chose to put it out now, and
They were
they're
waiting.
hyping up Metroid Dread, or not Metroid Dread, Metroid Fusion on
Fusion,
GBA.
yep.
Because they're trying to lay the groundwork for people to be excited about Metroid this year. Because
Yep.
Prime 4 is going to get revealed and be out within
What
the
if-
next 6 months.
Yep.
What if Nintendo like holds like they cancel
9.
Advance War? They cancel Advance Wars again just to keep it for the, for
Like,
the Switch too?
Watch
Just
that
for
shit on the Switch too.
They're like, oh, sorry, we're gonna cancel this again, like no reason, and then when they announced the Switch too.
Yeah, Jeff. The moment they said, okay, Metroid Prime Remastered is available now, I was like, okay, well,
Okay.
it's releasing in the next year. So like,
That's their big holiday game, because we know there's not a new Pokemon, and Zelda's going to be out in May. So
But
yeah, Metroid's going to be
here's
one
the
of their
other
big
thing,
holiday
guys.
games.
Guys, here's the other thing. This has been the absolute longest period of time we've had between 3D Mario games.
Bumps me
That's
out.
true.
Odyssey came out in 2017.
Yeah, but that's
Look,
because
man,
we're going to
they're
get
gonna
Donkey
go
Kong
20 years
Odyssey.
without a new Mario Kart. They'll
We-
go 10 years without a new 3D
We had the
Mario.
longest period between 3D Zelda games, right?
Yeah,
like
but
Nintendo is diversified at this
here's
point.
the thing, though. They're not going to launch I love Donkey Kong, but they're not going to launch a new Switch with like, hey, there's a new Donkey Kong. It's absolutely going to be a Mario game.
Hey, John, how about this? You fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, CJ.
Here's the
it's-
thing, John. Here's where I think you need to pay attention, right? Look at how big Donkey Kong is as a part of this Mario movie,
No,
right?
look at how well Tropical Freeze
Nintendo
holds on the
wants.
Switch.
Well, that true. Like Donkey Kong is it has the opportunity to come back, but the thing to remember is Donkey Kong and Mario have always been intertwined. And when you tell me the 3D Mario team is making a 3D Donkey Kong movie, or not movie game, not long potentially after this Mario movie comes out that is very Donkey Kong heavy, Nintendo wants you to consider Donkey Kong a part of the Mario brand.
Okay, so what you're saying
Moving
is
forward.
so what Derek is
Donkey
saying
Kong
is
Odyssey will be the Mario Odyssey sequel.
the next or so
No.
so the Switch is launching with Mario and Donkey Kong go to the Olympics.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No.
No.
Hold up, Derek. Let him cook. Yeah, I'm in. I'm in for that.
I don't know why, but I knew that's what the fuck you were gonna say, CJ. That exact phrase. Like,
no, it's not gonna hold up. The 3D Mario team isn't gonna make a Donkey Kong Odyssey. It's gonna be Jungle Beat 2 or something.
Oh, that's fucked. Don't do
what
that
about,
to me.
hey, no.
I need Donkey Kong 65. God damn it.
Diddy
Donkey
Kong
Kong
Racing 2,
63
baby.
and a
Let's
half.
go. Diddy Kong Racing 2. Next Switch launches with Diddy Kong Racing 2. Let's go.
Maybe, man. Maybe.
Yeah, all right, I'm down. So I can
Diddy
get
Kong
that.
Racing
Look,
fucking
you
ruled.
can't predict Nintendo because here's the thing. When they reveal the Switch 2, there's going to be like 2 or 3 games that have never been rumored, never been leaked, never anything. No one even guessed that are going to get revealed. And we're all going to be like, oh, yeah, that was obvious in hindsight. But like, no, it wasn't because fucking Nintendo.
Here's what's going to do. No, they're going to launch. Hold up. Here's what's going to happen. Switch 2 is going to launch with a brand new Sega produced F-Zero game that will take advantage of whatever the fucking like,
I would shit. I would shit.
I would
So,
cry. Either that or Criterion's like long rumored, like long, like developed
Right.
F-Zero game.
So-
right?
so-
They'll take advantage of it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So Jeff asked a question in chat. Has any Nintendo console launched with Mario other than N64? Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I would
the-
say launch window, right? Because Sunshine, Galaxy, and Odyssey all came out within
Luigi's
the
Mansion, was that a launch title?
rough-
Super Mario World was a launch title. Super Mario Brothers was a launch title. 6 Golden Coins was a launch title. for the
Sorry, I
Game
meant
Boy.
like since the N64.
Oh,
I didn't play
so-
Oh yeah, like
I
Galaxy
never
on
had
the
that
Wii,
shit.
Sunshine
No,
on
Galaxy-
the GameCube. Those were
Galaxy
within
did
the
not-
first year.
No.
Yeah, but not
Galaxy
like
was-
day and date like we're talking
Not
about.
day
with
and
Switch
date.
2.
No, that
Yeah,
has not
okay.
happened. No.
Okay.
Is
No,
Luigi's
day and date,
Mansion
no.
a Mario game?
I would say yes, but
I
Is in
no, I wouldn't, because you're not playing as Mario.
it's fucking Luigi, man.
Yeah.
Fuck Luigi. Let's go, man.
Why don't you
That's
put
what's
some
up.
fucking
That's
respect on
Bowser's
Luigi's
job.
name?
Yeah, fuck Italians. All right, anyway, but
fuck?
I would love I would love like a
Oh my God.
Mario launch title. I would love a 2D Mario launch title. I would love just some like, here's my thing. The Switch launch did not interest me personally because I'm not a Zelda fan at all,
Yeah.
right? And there's nothing else for me.
I-
At all.
Okay, so I'm going to say this because I brought up that fucking Mario movie. I will say this. It's gonna be weird if the Mario movie hits and there is not a Mario game to be promoted within the next year.
The Mario
That
movie game.
does-
Right? That's what I'm
Dude.
saying.
It
I just
feels
realized
like
we could get
time.
a 3D Mario with the Mario movie voice cast.
No,
Don't say
Jeff,
that.
Shut the
Fucking
fuck
the
up.
fuck
all,
up. Fuck you.
everyone's here. The same, you know how
No.
DC is mandating all the actors, like they have to voice the
No.
games too. Chris
Well-
Pratt now has to be Mario.
Chris
Man, we
Pratt
got-
is running through a 3D Mario world going, "It's a me."
So guys, listen.
Wahoo!
Hey, we got a new Sonic game the same year we got a new Sonic movie. So Sega truly does what Nintendo.
You know what they could. You know what,
right?
Jeff? CJ though.
There could
Jeff-
be a Mario and a Donkey
Oh,
Kong coming, or
no.
the Donkey Kong rumors could be
Derek.
bullshit.
Derek. Jeff may be onto something. You remember what they did with Street Fighter the movie?
Don't.
Yes.
No.
Okay, guys, hold up.
No.
Yes, I would love a shitty adaptation of the movie in a video game. Please. This is.
Yeah, but it has to
I
be made by
reviewed
Bandai Namco.
And it has to be.
Oh my
it,
God.
it has to be based on the Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo
It has to be
movie.
the first 3D Mario to be developed by an external studio. It has to be Bandai
Please.
Namco.
No, not Bamco. No. That's too good. Because Bamco's been doing stuff with Smash and Mario Kart. It's got to be someone else. It's got to be someone else. It's got to be like fucking, I don't know.
No, it's got to have Bob Haskins and John Leguizamo jump like that capture technology that they used to make
Into
in
the
the Mortal Kombat
into the
games.
Mario verse.
Yeah, and like
Ron Jeremy, Bob Hoskins, Charles
Bob
Martinet,
Hoskins,
Chris
Bob
Pratt.
Hoskins just running around like dressed as Mario, yelling, "I used to play King Lear," like just running around with fucking Dennis Hopper as
Yes,
like that's the
because
Mario
Koopa.
game.
Oh my God! Look, listen, and then it
That's
has to
the
be made by
fucking-
a studio that
I
only has
hate
like 3
this
months
so
to make it.
much.
Like it has to be the most rushed
Yeah.
and disgusting game ever made. I'll buy it day one.
That
By
that
day one.
when you talk about a Mario movie to coincide or a Mario game to coincide with a movie, that's and by the way, I have
It's
been
not a
looking for a
platformer at
way.
all. It's not a
CJ,
plat-
I have been looking for it's like a beat 'em up, like the Quiet Man. Like but I have been looking for a way to bring up Street Fighter the movie, the game, to Derek on this podcast for such a long time. I did just to see the reaction in his
It's
face.
Fine, isn't that bad?
No, the
hate you
movie
so
fucking
much.
rules. The
No, how about the
movie
game?
fucking rules,
No,
dude.
it
There is
doesn't.
Derek.
I
there is
love Raul
no-
Julia. That movie's not good.
There
Of
is no
course.
better quote. there's no better quote in a movie than when he says,
I can name a lot of great lines from truly abysmal movies.
No. The greatest line in cinematic history is when he said, "The day Bison came to your village is a day that you'll never forget."
Yeah,
for me,
everyone knows the line.
Like
it's famous.
It's fucking outstanding. You came to fight a man, but found a god. Fuck yeah, Raul Julia. You fucking rest in peace. Like, oh, what a
last
fucking
role. Isn't that funny? He died, and then that was the last thing he did.
And like CJ, he said he loved it too. Like he was like, "Oh, I had so much fun doing this."
Because he got paid a lot of money.
Yeah, but
so I would love like more things if I got paid to do them.
I'm like this podcast.
100%, like 100%. I like my thing with, you're right. Like it's all like, what rumored like launch games are there, right? Like nothing. It's all hardware, right? That's all discussion.
Like
it's
well,
discussion.
There's not. So here's the thing. First off, remember the Nintendo rumor game is fucking a dangerous game to be playing.
100%, man.
But at this point, there's not an awful lot in the tank for rumored Nintendo games, right? Just about everything that has had any real smoke behind it has been revealed or released, with the exception of like Metroid Prime 4, if you want to count that as, you know, a game that, like, again, like is a game it was announced, is real, as it's gone through multiple reboots, and that Donkey Kong game. But like beyond that, there's not a lot in the tank. So like, what's next, right?
This is kind of offbeat. I'm just curious because I just thought of it. We were talking about Wind Waker in the chat earlier. I think a while ago there was a Eurogamer report that mentioned Twilight Princess, I think, and Wind Waker coming.
Yes.
Again, and I think it said that year it didn't happen, but like as we know with Metroid Prime, doesn't always happen when they say it's
right.
Happen.
Again, Metroid Prime was ready
would they
a year and a half ago.
Switch, or would they save those? For
I think
Switch
they'd release
too?
them on Switch. Again, if the thing's cross-platform, then there's nothing that stops you from just releasing it on Switch and just saying it gets a resolution or frame rate
million
bump.
Install base, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
I have
like,
no doubt that those exist in some form, and I'm
the
sure
Switch
Nintendo's
2,
just
there's
holding
not
on.
going to be a ton of games that are going to be Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive in its first year, right? Yeah, that's just not likely.
What third-party publishers are going to say they're supporting the Switch 2 and, you know, jump ship fast? Like who's it going to be?
Oh, EA for sure.
EA is going to be like, hell yeah, we're supporting it.
EA is going to release like a fucking mobile version of FIFA and call it a day. You know what I mean?
They're going to announce like Jedi Fallen Order. They're going to announce Battlefield. They're going to announce all this stuff. It won't come out.
Ubisoft will port Assassin's Creed 2 to the Switch 2. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
Barely Entertainment in
So,
chat.
here's
just
the real
said,
question.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC ends just in time to make Mario Kart 8 Super Deluxe for Switch 2.
I do not fucking put it past them. There will never be Mario Kart 10.
We're long overdue for new Mario Kart, but
It's called Mario Kart Tour, John.
the real question for, like, I think the real burning question on everyone's mind is: are we going to get more themes other than light and dark for the next Switch?
Yeah, you're gonna get a blackout theme.
Blackout
and
theme.
that's it.
You get a blackout theme.
I need the core.
The
Colors
dark
is
Switch has
mushroom.
that dark theme has too much blue in it. It's got to be solid black.
Blackout. I would love a blackout theme. Like, to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest with you, like,
Honestly, any app that gives me a blackout option, I love it. Because too many dark themes are just dark blue, and that's not enough.
Nintendo Switch Online. How much of that carry? Like, is that their new? Like, is this?
No,
Yeah,
that shit
100%.
dies.
No?
No, that shit's gonna die on the Switch. They
Yeah,
don't know
I
how
was
to
gonna say
fucking use
Switch
the
Online,
internet.
like the native games will be backwards compatible. Switch Online dies with Switch, 100%.
You think so?
I'm with
Like,
CJ.
they're
No.
not going to carry Switch on.
100%.
They
Yeah, I
they
don't
already
know, man.
confirmed
Like,
in their own documents that like the whole Switch Online system, the point of it was to be forwards compatible with future hardware.
No, they said a lot
I'll
of
believe it
things.
when I see it. I
Like,
believe
they
what
said-
you're saying, Derek. I'll
Yeah.
They're
believe
figuring
what
out
you're
like
saying.
dial-up right now.
Again, this is not Iwata's. This is Furukawa's Nintendo.
I
Like,
agree with RAR and Derek. I agree with RAR.
Yeah.
Like
Nintendo
NSO,
is
I
still
think,
going to
is
be
easier to
incompetent
say.
at some shit, but the obvious choices are going to finally get made.
They're gonna cut
Like-
so many of the games that are available now. They're just gonna
Like-
be like, fuck that.
Do I believe like the obvious shit? Like, do I believe that the Switch will be backwards compatible? Yes, I do.
If you got a
Like,
Switch
they-
2, you now have to unlock previous NSO games.
Yeah.
Beat Zelda
Like,
2.
Take the Overwatch 2 approach and just be like, yeah, okay,
Do
there's
I-
only 3 games available. You got to play them for X amount of
Right.
time.
So like the two things I'm certain of is that one, it'll be backwards compatible because they can't afford not to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
And two, Nintendo Switch Online will carry over. Honestly, my biggest unanswered question is what Derek brought up earlier is what form will their physical media take? That to me is the real question.
I mean, I think it's got to be you cannot do fucking discs, man, in a
you just
handheld.
can't.
It's going to be cartridges, but I bet you that certain games, especially large games, I would not be surprised if Nintendo starts pushing digital even harder.
What about multiple carts?
No,
will never happen. You'll see games where the cart comes and you maybe have to download like a fucking patch
or
for high res graphics.
What if like they're gonna start they'll manufacture bigger carts that are like, you know, a lot like a lot better, faster, whatever, but they'll start charging $70 default for new games just to
Oh, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's gonna
happen. We kind of have an idea, like I think for PlayStation, Xbox, like at this point the digital physical split's like 80-20 or even higher. Do we know on Switch what?
I mean, Piscatella has, I don't remember the percentages, but he said that like digital split is high for Nintendo.
Okay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I buy almost exclusively digital games. Like I don't even fuck around with physical media unless there's like a really cool collector's edition.
Okay, so here's actually the interesting thing, right? Because I was thinking in my head like, well, we're talking about file sizes on this, but like I thought the point was that actually a lot of file sizes have gone down with next-gen exclusive games because they're running off of solid state media, so they can guarantee, like, you can remove the redundant data that you need to put on a physical hard drive because it doesn't need to keep common data within X amount of, like, arm swing speed for the fucking hard drive reader arm. The Dead Space remake is only 31 gigs.
Oh, okay.
Of file size, right? Like the problem is that Call of Duty is still several hundred gigs because
and Microsoft has promised to put it on Switch, baby.
Because Activision has never learned how to like crunch a file size in their life. But yeah, like
I think at some point someone's going to discover that hidden in like the subdirectories of the Call of Duty games, they just have every previous Call of Duty game. And they've just been
they just keep building on top of it and forgetting to get rid of the old shit.
Every new release has all the previous games.
It's gonna be. Do y'all remember when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, and it turned out that much of the reason why Metal Gear Solid 4 needed as much disk space as it did was that they just did not compress anything. They didn't compress any audio files. They did not compress. They were running fucking WAV files for everything, right? They were doing like uncompressed targas for every texture.
Look,
instead
that's
of using
Kojima does not sacrifice. Kojima does not
compromise.
No, I'm with it. You got it.
But I remember it's funny because you could still like even with audio, like you have compressed lossless formats like FLAC that could have saved like 2/3 of their storage space for audio, and they just didn't. And like that's gonna be what it is with Activision. It just turns out that they don't, fucking Call of Duty. I don't understand it. 31 gigs for Dead Space though. You can fit that on a cartridge right now.
Impressive.
Do you guys think that they could go the route of Xbox and offer a digital only version?
Yes.
Of their new console.
I would not be fucking surprised.
I can absolutely see that happen.
So
I can see it.
The 2DS is like a perfect example of like a truncated version of like a console just to like save a few dollars. You know what I'm saying? They could easily do it with a Switch, just like no cartridge slot, and that's it.
I mean, isn't the end game for everyone to move to digital so they don't have to share that split with retail? Like eventually, isn't that the end game?
That's a big part of it. Again, Nintendo is uniquely interested in digital sales because of the cost of cartridge manufacturing. I will tell you that from the inside, Nintendo is obsessed with logistics when it comes to like literally the size of their boxes, right? Their game cases. Like so much of that shit is they want to think of how many boxes can they fit in a package that they have to ship, right? Like logistics is huge for Nintendo. They were thrilled when like I remember hearing about the amount that they saved as a company just by moving to smaller boxes for the Switch over the the classic Wii U and Wii size like DVD cases because they could put more in a box for the same shipping price.
Can I say the one thing that sucks about Nintendo eventually moving more digital heavy?
Is that they fucking do shit like the 3D
Mario-
All-Stars
Yeah.
collection,
Yeah.
So-
right?
Yeah. That shit fucking
That's how you
sucks.
also
I-
know
I-
Nintendo wants to
they
go
still,
all digital.
I was so
I
sure
still
that
don't
would-
understand.
I was so sure it was gonna come. They were getting rid of it so they could bring it back in a couple years for Christmas and be like, "It's back for a limited time," and they
Kind
never
of like the
did
double
it.
down.
Do you know how
Yeah.
many switches?
man.
How many switches have they sold since they took that off the market? 30 million? 40 million? How
They're
many
gonna release
people-
it. They're gonna
Yeah,
release
yeah.
another
how
wave
many
on March
people
10th.
would have bought that
could've
game?
Hold up, guys. John, what the fuck did you just say? Like the what?
I said kind of like the double down.
Like the fucking KFC double down?
Yeah, dude, they just brought it back.
It's
They just brought it
exactly
back.
the same.
It's You know what? It's
McRib.
The legacy of the double
Yeah.
down.
Nintendo saw that. They're like, hell
the-
yeah.
the
Dude,
Disney VHS vault and the KFC double down. It's exactly the same thing, man.
Dude, like seriously, like dude, like it could be like
It's
their
the
version of the
McRib.
McRib. Yeah, like it's back for a limited time. It's like, you know, they're sitting on a gold mine and they're not doing anything with it. Like
They're gonna. Okay. Now here's the thing. March 10th. How much you want to bet that we don't see like a limited re-release of the 3D Mario collection on
We
March 10th?
we don't.
No,
I would
Nintendo
love it.
hates- They don't want
no.
your money. They don't care. They don't care.
Okay, but if they do,
Not
they're
gonna
gonna
happen.
hold up. All right, here's the thing: if they do it, what they're gonna do is this: they're gonna release each game individually for $40 for a limited time,
That's also what I thought they were going to do when they took it off. But no, all of them just went away.
and
Like,
they're gonna be
that's
somehow worse than the Metroid Prime remaster.
Well, that's not hard. The Metroid Prime remaster is one of the most impressive fucking remasters I've seen from Nintendo. So-
That's like I still like. I'm like, no, dude.
How
this
did
is
a
remake,
GameCube
not a
game
fucking
become one of the
remaster.
prettiest games on the Switch? I don't
Which is
understand.
It's the
why-
greatest console ever made. Nintendo's stupid. They should be fucking chasing
Also,
that shit.
I'm still saying
GameCube
that's
2,
that's a
bitch.
fucking remake. It's not a
Okay, hold up,
remaster. Like, look at
Nintendo.
that shit.
Like
Like,
Nintendo, like you want to print money? Just release the GameCube 2, baby. Use a 4K disc. Keep the 4 like player. Let's do it. Come on.
GameCube
yeah,
2.
I-
Game
I-
Sphere. Let's go.
games, game.
Virtual
Game-
Boy 2
game
will
still in
do well.
Earth. No. The Virtual Man.
Virtual Man, no.
We're growing up now. Virtual. So you got the Virtual Man, the Game Sphere, the I
The
don't know,
Engage.
the Game Man. You know, it's not a Game Boy anymore. It's a Game Man now.
Hey,
It's
man.
the, it's the game dude.
The Game Dude. The Game Bro. It's the Game Bro. So we are Derek, we didn't even get to our other topic because
We didn't. You know, I guess
talk about it next week.
in a bit. Well, other things will come up, and it's fine because I'm sure a lot of people did not want to dive into a very contentious topic. All I will say is, if I can get just a couple of minutes here to summarize that bit, because I think it's important for maybe listeners. Naoki Yoshida, Yoshi P, producer of Final Fantasy XIV and upcoming Final Fantasy XVI, said in an interview that he did not want to consider Final Fantasy XVI a JRPG, and relayed his experiences and his anecdotes of talking to other Japanese developers who do not like the term JRPG because it has traditionally, for a long period of time, been used in a condescending way. And that is blown up into like a whole discourse. I am a queer white American with 2 hair colors. Like it's no question that I'm going to be the person to call a thing racist, but the basic conversation about this is like, y'all gotta remember the era of video gaming. God, especially the 360 PS3 era, where Japanese like made games were considered by default kooky, weird, bad menus, bad storytelling.
There's such thing as too Japanese. Like that was
Yes.
big,
Remember the whole thing with Phil Fish, right? Blowing up on a panel about how Japanese games all suck, right? Because Japanese developers don't know what they're doing. And like that was a widespread attitude in games media, within games enthusiasts, that like Japanese stuff was
Not with me.
like weird cult, like nerd shit. And the big Western stuff was just better. it's, menu driven combat was seen as like a thing of the past rather than a stylistic choice. You also can't say that like menu driven combat's exclusively a Japanese thing. And it's kind of hard too, because like the term RPG is meaningless these days. So like JRPG is supposed to mean Japanese RPG, but nobody would call Dark Souls a JRPG, right? It's Japanese, it's an RPG, nobody would call it a JRPG. It's because the term JRPG has become more aesthetic than it's become about the country of origin. There's a whole conversation around why we separated things into Japanese versus Western, knowing that a lot of times like the idea of putting the entire like European and America like and all of that into the Western umbrella is often very much a white nationalist framing of things, where the Western world is one of enlightenment. There's all kinds of little shit like that, weird little needly shit. And I do suggest looking into some of, like, I think Alex Donaldson from RPG Site had some really interesting things to say about this. Our buddy Mike Williams, previously a Fanbyte, still a Fanbyte, maybe, I'm not sure. I haven't checked in a while.
I just saw a good article from
I just
him,
haven't checked in a while. Had some great things to say, which is like the important thing about this is that like we need to come to terms with the original sin of the way that we used to treat Japanese developed games, and sometimes still do, that we like to like treat them through this very Orientalist lens of like exoticism and weirdness, and that's just not healthy. It's not good, and Japanese developers would like you to stop doing it. They are just a part of the
xenophobia, man. It's fucking, like, come on, it's xenophobia disguised as like some enlightened fucking bullshit. All right, like, come on.
Yeah. Is the term JRPG itself racist? I'm not here to fucking weigh in on that. But like, maybe stop and examine your own attitudes towards like JRPGs as a genre and Japanese developed or published games as a whole. And think about, if you think of that country's output that much differently than the rest of the gaming world, just think about why that is and interrogate that. It doesn't, this is not a point at you and call you racist thing. This is just, I should think about that, right? Why do I do that? Maybe that's not a good assumption for me to have baked in. It is a thing that I've never interrogated about myself. It's really that simple, because Yoshi P has asked you to do that. So that's it. We just crunched a 30-minute topic into like 4 minutes.
Well done, Derek. Well done.
Yeah. It turns out I spent a couple days reading about this shit. So,
all right, I'm going to be doing an Octopath Traveler 2 stream tomorrow.
Cool. I'm going to be working
about 20-25 hours into the game, so I'm kind of right in the middle of it. I just want to, more than anything else, I just want to stream some good Square Enix games and hang out with the community. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. Britt kicked her son's ass.
Yes, good.
Wow, good.
He deserved it. Whatever.
Excellent. And
in Fortnite, in the living room, doesn't matter. He deserved it.
Doesn't matter. I'm sure he probably deserved it.
At Gang Beasts. Okay. Well, he's got to learn.
Yeah. All right.
Poor Brit's poor Brit's using her repression against us.
All right. Just real quick.
She Casey Anthony'd him.
Nah. Who said?
Whoa.
Whoa, bro. Whoa. I mean, that's funny, but still. Jeez.
Wow. This got.
Who said that?
This got real dark. Derek.
That's pretty fucking funny.
Derek.
Pretty fucking funny. That's pretty
Derek. Funny. I can say that.
At any rate.
Why can't you?
PAX East is coming up in a few weeks, and I am actually on a panel.
I'm white. Casey Anthony was one of us.
Derek, shut the fuck up. I'll be on a panel at PAX East as part of a
CJ.
I'm sorry, John. Please go.
Okay.
I'm done.
I will be on a panel at PAX East as part of StackUp.org's Veterans and Gaming panel, talking about gaming and war stories. So if you're headed to PAX East, that's on Saturday. I can't remember what time it is or what room it is, but I'll put that information on Twitter. But I'll be there at PAX East. Finn will be there as well. We'll both be representing SDGC. So if you see me walking around, if you're at PAX East and you see me walking around, as anybody who's hung out with me in real life will attest, I'm not hard to miss. So walk up, give me a hug, you
challenge
don't
John to a fight when you see him. He's open for that. Like 100%.
challenge, like, like I sort of miss being challenged by randoms on Twitter, to be
Like
perfectly
do
honest
it.
with you.
Just
So,
approach him, sneak attack. He'll
I sort of miss people saying like I'm gonna fuck you
Hit
up
the
at
Y
PAX.
button
And I'm
from
like, all
behind
right.
him.
Yeah,
That's
just
how you do it.
where, and what's funny is that like Derek has been like, dude, I've seen people stare at you at PAX and be like, nah, man, never mind.
I've literally watched
but-
people change their mind in real time. It's great.
We saw their
Fucking
life
alt-right
flash before their
chuds
eyes.
who were like sure they were ready for that shit would spot the Gungeon beanie and then realize that they shouldn't see the Gungeon beanie from through the crowd and then realize what that means about you. Yeah.
but yeah, no, PAX is gonna be a great time. So if you see me walking around, please come up and give me a hug. Just say hi. I'm super approachable. Then they see his shoulders also above the crowd. I do have some big ass shoulders. I do have some big ass shoulders. But at any
Wide
rate,
boy. We respect it.
I'm broad. At any way, we will go ahead and cut it off here. I'll tweet out tomorrow morning what time I'm going to be doing my Octopath Traveler 2 stream. And if nobody has anything else, guys, remember, kindness costs nothing. Thank you for showing up tonight, and we'll see you next week.